A number of shots have been fired at police and 9 officers have been injured in rioting after an Orange Order parade through a Catholic area of Belfast. Petrol bombs and bricks were thrown at police by nationalist youths objecting to the marchers.
9 police officers have been injured in Belfast during disturbances following a disputed Orange Order parade. Petrol bombs have been thrown in Londonderry, and there's also been some disorder in Craigavon. Police say the situation is under control and political leaders have appealed for calm. Here's more from our Ireland correspondent Mark Simpson.
It had been peaceful in Belfast, but the longer the day went on in this part of the city, the more violent it became. The trouble broke out after a march by the Protestant Orange Order. Their parade went past the largely Catholic Ardoyne district. Local residents protested peacefully. Then the trouble broke out. The MP for North Belfast blamed dissident Republicans.
They're not interested in a resolution to parades or anything else. They want to attack the police and their Protestant neighbours in order to bring about violence and derail the peace process. That's what they're about. Nothing else.
All roads in and out of the area were closed from the middle of the afternoon.
The majority of the people here are basically sick to the stomach of this. I mean, they've seen it down through the years, they don't want it.
Most of the parades across Northern Ireland passed off peacefully, and the marching season so far this year has been relatively calm. The recent handshake between the Queen and Sinn Féin's Martin McGuinness demonstrated how Northern Ireland is changing. But the trouble in North Belfast tonight showed there's still a long way to go. It is a very difficult night for the police in Northern Ireland. There's a large loyalist crowd on one side of the road and a large Republican crowd behind those buildings on the other side. They do have extra resources, but as often happens in Northern Ireland, the police are stuck in the middle. Mark Simpson, BBC News, North Belfast.
Trouble has flared after an Orange Order parade in Belfast today. Hundreds of riot police were deployed as the traditional 12th of July Loyalist march went past the mainly Catholic Ardoyne area of the city. A water cannon was deployed after Republican protesters set fire to a car and threw bottles and bricks at the police. Carl Dinnan is in Belfast. Carl, there were surely changes made to this whole business of marching to try and avoid all this. Obviously failed.
There were, and to this parade in particular, normally it would get to that contentious area about 7 in the evening, and in recent years there's been serious trouble afterwards. This time the Parades Commission, which adjudicates on these things, said they must get past by 4. In order to achieve that, the Orange Order hit on the kind of ingenious plan that really I think could only happen here. They drove along the part of the route where nobody minded them walking, and then they got out and they marched along the contentious part of the route. It was only a dozen or so orange men who walked up through the ranks of armoured police Land Rovers. As they passed the contentious Ardoyne area, nationalist residents stood in silent protest. The parade went without incident and was welcomed at the top of the road by their own supporters. But back down in Ardoyne, nationalist youths were now throwing bricks and roof slates at the police. They responded with a water cannon. A car was ripped up, set on fire and pushed at police lines. An armoured Land Rover rammed it off the street. The confrontation continued until a local community representative called on the crowd to make way for the official residents' group protest. Now, we have to be fair here. The scenes that we witnessed through that fence are nothing like as bad as that area has seen in previous years. That said, the residents' parade, their protest, has now finished and the situation is getting violent again. Petrol bombs have been thrown at the police, and in a sign of the times, John, the police have been forced to come out and deny rumours that have been going out on a social network that one of their officers has been shot. Now, on the whole today, Northern Ireland has been relatively peaceful. It's important to say that, but tonight the situation in Ardoyne does look like it's becoming more serious again.
Carl Dinnan in Belfast.
4 men have been remanded in custody after appearing in court in Belfast in connection with the riots on Thursday. Violence followed an Orange Order parade in the Ardoyne district of the city. More than 20 police officers were injured in the clashes.